Hello viewers, welcome to today's edition of the Youth Arena. I trust you've been well all this while, and we've been talking about something very crucial to our leadership growth and influence, and that has been how to grow our leadership influence. We've talked about the need to have faith in people, we've talked about the need to prioritize integrity, and today we'll be talking about something I'm sure you will enjoy: the art of listening. The art of listening. Listening is very, very important to your growth of leadership influence. So it's something I'm very, very sure you enjoy, because it's going to add all shades of value to your leadership influence and growth. So sit back and relax and learn as much as you can while we take this ride together. Okay, now first of all, it's important to understand what listening is. So what is listening? In my own definition, I choose to see listening as giving one's attention to either sound or action or an expression, in order to understand details of what someone else is communicating. So you could be said to be listening when you are giving attention, your attention as the person who they are talking to, giving your attention to understand sound, to understand action, to understand expression of the person who is talking to you or who is communicating, and then responding accordingly. And a lot of persons pride themselves that they are very good listeners, while in actual fact they don't actually listen. And you are a good listener not because you say you are, but because the people you are relating with say you listen to them good. You connect with them, you relate with them on that listening level that they are okay with. Okay, so many people take for granted the ability to listen. They consider it easy or view themselves as very good listeners, but actually very few persons are listening. Very few persons are good listeners. Sorry. Now, one skill you must develop as a leader who wants to grow his leadership influence, whether in the family circle or in the organizational circle or in the church setting or anywhere you find yourself leading, is the skill called listening skills. Very, very important. Maybe by the time we delve deeply into it, you will understand better what I'm talking about. It's very, very crucial. These are things we meet on a day-to-day basis. It's not something we meet once in a while. We meet it every day because we talk to people and people talk back to us. We communicate, we respond, and all of that. So it's something that's going to benefit you, not just in your circle of large leadership per se, but even in your day-to-day interaction with people. You'll be able to enhance your listening abilities for better productivity. Okay. Now, you will never succeed, and I'm saying this emphatically, you will never succeed with others by dumping information on them. If you want to positively impact people, you must learn not to stop at dumping information on them. There's a place of getting feedback. That's why communication is a two-way thing, and the art of listening is very important if you must properly communicate or properly see to it that what you are communicating is understood and executed. So you must come to that point where you stop dumping information on people. You don't impact people's life that way. So you will never succeed with others by dumping information on them. So if you want to positively impact on people, you must learn how to listen. You must learn how to listen. It's not enough to come and give out instructions, and you're not even interested in getting feedbacks, whether they have confusions or what their limitations at that point might be, or what their challenges might be and how to work around it. If you just issue orders like that and expect everybody to just hear you and take whatever you say for it and run, you might have problems. You could escape at some point, get things done and all, but in the long run you will lose the people in your circle of leadership, because everybody wants to be in a space not just where they are information is dumped on them or instructions are dumped on them, but where they are listened to, their own perspective is received, their own angle and side of the whole gist is heard, and then proper decisions are made. Now, the 28th president of the United States of America made a statement. He said that the ear of the leader must ring with the voices of the people. And that's his way of emphasizing the importance of a leader being willing to listen to what the people he's leading has to say. You don't go far as a leader if you are the one doing all the talking and the people under you are the ones receiving all the instructions. No, the communication is a two-way thing. It has to flow from the up down and from the down up, if the organization or whatever setting where the leadership is experienced will experience less friction in getting things done. Okay, that's how we run. Now, very importantly, we're going to discuss why listening is important. This is going to be a 3-part series or episodes. We're going to be looking at today why listening is important. Then in subsequent episodes, we're going to be looking at how to deal with barriers in listening. A lot of persons have several barriers that they are currently experiencing. Perhaps they do not know, but by the time you get to understand that, you also get to see a way out of it. And then thirdly, we're going to be looking at how you can become an effective listener. How you can become an effective listener. Listening has actually people who take it for granted, actually, especially in their relationships, it has caused a lot of problems in relationships. It is still causing a lot of problems in relationships. By relationships, I mean romantic relationships and all. Especially for the ladies and most guys too, they want to be listened to. They don't want people who will just come around and issue orders to them, just tell them what to do without caring to know what they feel, what they think, and all of that. So it's actually a very crucial point, a very crucial subject. That's the point I'm trying to drive home. Okay, so why is listening important? I'm going to give you a number of points to that effect, and I trust it's very helpful to you. It's meant to stir up the desire in your heart to learn more about listening. And as tiny as it might seem, it's going to make a huge impact in your leadership as a leader. It's going to make huge impacts. Trust me, you're going to be seeing tremendous results if you apply these things that we're sharing with you on this platform. Okay, so number one, listening is important because when you listen to people, it communicates respect. Listening shows respect. Listening shows respect. I wrote down here, I said, whenever you don't pay attention to what others have to say, you send them the message that you don't value them. That's what you say. Now, communication can either be verbal or non-verbal. And most times, we focus our efforts on learning how to communicate verbally. You see people buying books on public speaking and all of those things, verbal communication, how to talk for 2 hours, 3 hours without getting, without having your strength diminished and all of some of those things that put us in a space where we are the ones doing the talking. There's little or no emphasis in the communication circle about non-verbal communications, the things you say when you are not saying anything. So as a leader, everybody you listen to, or most persons you listen to, consider it as being valued. They consider it as being respected. Okay? So when you, on the other hand, listen to others, you communicate that you respect them and that you care for them. It's tiny. It seems little, but it's much. It's actually much. How people can take things to heart, as little as whatever it is you've done is, they receive it, they interpret it in a certain way, and then you see somebody acting in a certain way towards you, and you are wondering, what did I do to this person? Maybe negative vibes and feedback. Maybe it's something you've communicated that it wasn't verbal communication, but the person picked it or processed it and is giving it back to you. Good measure, press down, shaking together and running over. And you are wondering where such attitudes are coming from. Okay, so it's very important. Now, if you love someone, I want you to put it at the back of your mind that the first duty you have to that person is to listen to that person. By listening, understanding is generated. And where there is understanding, there is less friction in the relationship. So listen to people. You love someone, listen to them. Maybe in the course of the discussion, you still get to understand a number of things. Something like there are persons who, they are not interested in how many millions you have to give them. Now, not that they don't want it, not that it wouldn't be beneficial to them, but as little as you're creating time for them, to listen to them, to understand them, it's much more to them than any other material thing you can think of giving them. Maybe you are in such a relationship and that has been what has been causing the issue all this while in your relationship. You feel the way to love your wife, especially for us men, is to just give her money. Give her money. I read something on WhatsApp some time ago. They say if you want to make a woman happy, give her money. Number 2, give her money again. My brother, I say give her money. It's not all about the money. There's more to that. And sometimes if there's actually a particular lady, I'm talking now generally, if there's actually a lady who, if you want to make her happy, just give her money, give her money, give her money. My brother, run for your life. She's probably a knife and not a wife, like somebody would say. Okay, there's more to our ladies. Personally, I believe that to what the society has tagged them to be. They are more sophisticated than that. They are more responsible than that. They are more powerful than we view them to be. Okay, so listening is very, very important. Very, very important. Okay, now a mistake most people often make in communicating is trying very hard to impress the other person by doing all the talking. I've been caught up in that web before. You know, you see somebody, you want to impress the person, and then you catch yourself trying to do all the talking because you feel maybe you will drop one rema like that and the person will go wow, or you just say one thing like that and you know the person will feel like this one sabi, without knowing that actually the more you talk, the more we discover whether you are foolish or you are wise. And in such situations where you are saying things, the wrong motivation now is to impress, most times you make mistakes, you misrepresent your true self. But when you relax and you are more interested to listen, you know, more than you are to talk, you discover that you are better placed to make better impressions. Okay, and that's going to lead me to say the next thing I'm going to say. I say if you want to relate well with others, you have to be willing to focus on what they have to offer. You have to be willing to get what they have before you give what you have. You know, be more interested in what they have to offer. Listen to them. Genuinely show them you care for them and all of that. Now, the next thing I wrote here, which I think is also very, very important for you to take home, two scenarios. I said, know when to be impressed and interested and when to be impressive and interesting. I'm going to explain this. Now, when you are impressed and interested, it shows you are receiving an information, and then you are impressed, you are interested. It's something that flows from you to the other person. You are impressed about what the person is doing, who the person is. You are interested in what he has to offer or what she has to offer. Then on the other side, you must also know when to be impressing and interesting. Most people get into that space where they want to be impressing and they want to be interesting in order to get the other person's attention without necessarily being genuinely interested in what is flowing from the other person. Communication is a two-way thing. And when two people who are in a relationship, any form of relationship, whether boss, employer, employee relationship, or romantic relationship, marriage relationship, and all of that, when they understand this principle, things go better than it usually does. Be more interested in what the other person has to say, has to offer, more than what you have to offer. Is the other person first. Okay, the same rule applies to listening. Now, that's on the first point, why listening is important. Say listening is important because when you listen, you show people that you respect them. You show them that you value them. You show them that you care for them. Now, the next reason why listening rather is important is because listening helps us build relationships. Now, people who are self-focused and who talk about themselves and their concerns all the time rarely develop strong relationships. If you've met people who are more interested in, I am this, I am that, I am finished, I am dying, you know, you get into a workspace and the person wants to be the center of attraction. The person wants to be the focus. Today, either his head is breaking, tomorrow, his leg is falling out, you know. And even when you are in a space, there are people, I've encountered some persons, you are sick, they came to visit you, or maybe they came in a group to visit you, to sympathize with you. All of a sudden, the person wants to tell everybody that, the one doing me right now is even more than the one, you know, that you are experiencing all of that. The person wants to change the narrative to just so that he or she will be in the center of the whole deal. We don't build strong relationships if that's the way we act. You must learn that you mustn't always focus on yourself. Learn to listen more and focus on yourself less. Okay. Now I wrote here, I said, if you relate with people who are high, who are to an extent successful in what they are doing, you will observe that they listen more and talk less, except they are put in a position where they have to do all the talking. But when you see people who don't know anything, who have what one of my friends called low brain count, when they come into an environment of sophisticated people who have gone ahead, of you in perhaps your line of endeavor, you see them trying to impress people who have gone ahead. Like how? Relax, calm down, and learn from people who have gone ahead of you. Those kind of persons want to do all the talking. They want to, show everybody that they sabi this thing, in the Nigerian context, that they know this thing, and all of it. Doesn't make sense. It's the easiest way to show the whole world, or to show the, everybody around you how foolish you are. Personally, I wouldn't employ somebody like you if I receive such vibe from you. Okay, I wouldn't. All right. Now, by becoming a good listener, you are able to connect with others on more deeper levels, develop stronger relationships, because you are meeting a need when you are listening to people. So when you actually make out time to listen to people, make deliberate efforts to listen to people, you are connecting with them on a deeper level. You are building relationships. Why? Because you are meeting a need. When you listen to someone, you are meeting that person's need. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be heard. One of the points we're going to see is on how listening breeds loyalty. And one point I'll make from there, I'll still get to that point, is that when people feel you are not listening to them, they channel their, they are tilted towards another person who is inclined to listen to them, and with such privilege comes loyalty. So their loyalty shifts from you to whoever is willing to listen to them. Why? Because a need is being met. But we'll get there shortly, okay? So listening builds relationships. Very, very important. Everyone needs someone who feels really listens to him, who he feels really listens to him. And when you become that important person, that important listener, you help the person and your relationship with the person is strengthened. These are little facts of life. Maybe you can even think back and you discover that there's a particular person, a friend in your life you've been giving listening attention. Bonds, or you discover that you guys get bonded over time. The relationship is deepened, the relationship is strengthened, the person confides in you, the person knows he can count on you, the person, and if there's any opportunity for the person to be a blessing to you or to help you, without stress, the person does that. Okay? Now, one more thing before we go on a break. Listening increases knowledge. When you listen to people, you increase your knowledge. I wrote here, I said, it's amazing how much you can learn about your friends and family, your job, the organization you work in, and yourself when you decide to really listen to people. With listening comes knowledge. Knowledge is increased when you listen. We'll pick up from here when we come back from this very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi there, you're welcome back. Trust you've been enjoying the program so far. We've been talking about why listening is important, and we've said that when you listen, people feel valued, people feel respected, and people feel cared for. And secondly, when you listen to people, your relationship with those people you are listening to is deepened. It becomes better, and your bonds with the people are strengthened. And then thirdly, when you listen to people, your knowledge is increased. Listening increases knowledge. And we said before we went on the break that when you actually listen to people, you discover that you learn more about your friends, you learn more about your family, you learn more about the job you are at, the organization you are working with, and all of that. But if you don't listen to them, you discover that you could live in the same house with somebody, and yet in actual fact the person is a total stranger to you. Circumstances will eventually reveal, because you will be thinking, I know her, I know him, and all of that. But when circumstances present themselves, you'll be like, I don't know anything about this person. So it's important you listen. Why? It increases your knowledge. Okay, the next thing here, the next point under this particular point is that when you listen to people, you put yourself in a position where you get answers to questions that are yet to come your way. Sometimes you listen to people and the feedback you get from them, you can apply it in a futuristic event that is yet to happen to you. Now, let me say this at this point. Never put yourself in a position, or beware of putting yourself in a position where you think you know all the answers. What this is going to do for you is that it's going to help you listen better, because in listening there is knowledge. But when you think you know all things, you know everything, you are the jack of all trade of knowledge and the master of all, which nobody is, you shift yourself away from learning. you shift yourself away from learning. This next point is going to make sense to you. I said it's almost impossible to think of yourself as the expert and continue growing and learning at the same time. You don't think yourself as the know-it-all, and it's more like you are a water bottle, and then you are filled up with water, and there's no way you will request for more water. So when you feel and think of yourself as the expert, as the best of the best, as the professor in a particular field, you lack, or you create chances, you create rooms for not growing and not becoming better. Okay? Now, one common problem as people, when we gain more authority, the issue is that the problem we have as people when we get more authority actually is that we tend to dissociate from people who we are meant to get closer to, people who are meant to give us feedbacks, people who are on the front line of the business. The higher you go, the farther away you are from where the action actually is. So if you as a leader must maintain your influence, must maintain your position, knowing what's going on, you must develop a relationship with the people who are in the front lines. And how do you do that? Learn to talk to them and learn to listen even more. Learn to listen even more. Now, I wrote here, I said, the farther you get from the front lines, the more you have to depend on others to get reliable information. That's why you must listen to them. Now, I feel bad when you meet people who have succeeded in quotes, and when they treat people who are maybe drivers, cleaners, and all of these people who seem to be on the lowest chain of whatever organization, the way they treat them is appalling, without knowing that to a great extent, their success is dependent on those ones who are on the front lines. Imagine treating your cashier or your receptionist or whoever badly. The person could put up an attitude or come up with one evil plan like that, and your whole organization is crashed down because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. It doesn't have to happen. There are situations like that, there are cases like that. It doesn't make the person who is doing such thing justified. It doesn't justify the action and all of that, but it sends a message to you as a leader, not to take the people who are on the front lines of doing the businesses, who are in the factory, in the production sector and all of that, in the manufacturing, the sales, in all of these things. You are just there controlling things. Good and fine. You are there because you worked yourself up the ladder, whatever that means and all. But don't take these people for granted. Listen to them. Listen to what they have to say. Only if you develop good listening skills early and continue to use them will you be able to gather the information you need to succeed as a leader. Okay? Now, as you proceed through life and become more successful, don't lose sight of your need to keep growing and improving yourself. I will say this at this point. A deaf ear is an evidence of a closed mind. A deaf ear is an evidence of a closed mind. Don't close your mind to learning. And how do you show us that? When your ears are open. When your ears are open, we know that your mind is also open to learn. Now, another importance of listening is that listening guarantees ideas. Listening generates ideas. Ideas help us to do the things we've been doing before better. Now, when you listen to people, you are open to ideas. You get tips that you can join together to make up something that will move your organization forward or move a particular cause forward. Learn to take feedbacks seriously, whether it's criticisms or is backlashings, whether it's good or bad. You must come to a point where you are more interested in picking the message much more than how the message was presented. Sometimes we lose the value in what people are saying simply because of how they said it. Now, as bad as it is that people don't say things right, don't approach things right, they should work on that, okay? But it shouldn't cloud your sense of judgment or seeing the fact that what they are saying is actually right. So you must come to that point where you take what people are saying, act on it, or analyze it first of all before you know what to do, much more than don't let their approach, their attitude towards saying, making certain observations and all of that, stop you from picking the message in what they have said. So ideas can come from these things. Very, very important, okay? Now, when you consistently listen to others, you never suffer for ideas because people love to contribute, especially when the leader shares, the results with them, when the leader shares the credit with them, and also when the leader gives them the room to air their opinions and to say their minds. We are leaders. We are powerful. These are little things we should get in place, and you discover that life becomes easier. Leading the organization becomes easier. Every creativity and idea you need to move your organization forward is found within the walls of your organization most times. But when you lack the ability to get feedbacks from people, create an atmosphere where they air their views, where they bring stuffs on the table on how to move the organization forward. And you might not even need a consultant. Who knows? You might not. You might not. You might just not. The ideas you need are in your organization, and you must learn to harness them in the people that God has put under your leadership. Now, if you give people opportunities to share their thoughts and you listen with an open mind, there will always be a flow of new ideas. And even if what they are saying is off course, listen. Listen first. Sometimes the right ideas come from hearing the wrong ones first. Then your mind is juggled, your creativity is juggled, and before you know it, you get what you need in order to move a particular course forward. Now, if you hear ideas that don't work, like I said, listen to them. Listen to them. You will never know how close you are to $1 million breakthrough until you listen to an idea that might seem stupid. Listen. Listen first, okay? Now, listening actually builds loyalty. That was the point I told you I was going to build on. Listening builds loyalty. When people feel they are listened to, they shift their loyalty to the person who listens to them. Okay? Anytime employees, spouses, colleagues, children feel like you are not listening to them, they will find someone else who will. And when they do, their loyalty shifts from you. Come on, they tend to think, if you don't respect me enough, if you don't value me enough, if you don't care for me enough to listen to what I have to say, why should I reciprocate? That's the genesis of issues in relationships, whether family relationships and all manner of relationships. If you don't respect me enough or value me enough or care for me enough to listen to what I have to say, why should I reciprocate? Even though maturity should come in, especially in the Christian circle of marriage relationships, you should love unconditionally and you should respect unconditionally. So you don't need your partner to do anything before you give them what you're supposed to give them. That's a teaching for another day. But learn to listen. Or there's a chance that the people who you are not listening to will shift their loyalty to someone else or to something else. The consequences of your not listening to people is more disastrous on you and less on the people that you are not listening to. That's why we should take it personally. We should imbibe it as a skill and we should advance in it. We should become the best we can in this circle, in this circumference, on this skill of learning. Now, on the other hand, practicing good listening skills draws people to you because people are drawn closer to friends who listen to them. I wrote down here, I said, if you consistently listen to others and value what they have to offer, they are likely to develop a strong loyalty to you, even when your authority over them is unofficial or informal. That's powerful. So you don't necessarily need to hold a position of authority. There are a lot of you who are out there. You are great influencers already simply because of this particular skill. You are not the president in your fellowship. You are not the president of your organization. But because you have listening ears to people who are around, you have a command of the larger crowd of people in that organization than even the figurehead of a president. Is a skill you should learn whether you are in a position of authority or you are not in a position of authority. Now, finally, as we round off, why is listening important, rather? The last point, and we round up. Listening is a great way to help others and yourself. In the beginning, it might not seem like you are helping yourself, but you are. And even if you are not benefiting, which is not true, even if you are not benefiting, then you should learn to be selfless. Do things for the benefit of others. Everything mustn't come back, with a profit for you. Learn to do things for the benefit of others, just for the sake of the benefit of others. Okay? Now, listening to others may appear not to benefit you, but in the long run, it benefits you. How does it benefit you? You get to learn. You develop strong relationships. You get valuable information. You increase your understanding about yourself and about others. I'm a better person with my friends because I've learned some things about them that others do not know. So I'm better able to relate with them. I know what to get them on their birthdays. As simple as that. I know the color they like and what to get for them in that line. I know what not to do for them, what to do for them. Listening. See, If you are in a relationship, a boy-girl relationship, most times the person the person you are in a relationship with tells you their likes and dislikes when you are gisting. It only takes somebody who listens to pick those things and apply them when when the time comes. That somebody is romantic is a function of his listening ability. He knows what you want, packages it for a particular time, and delivers it like a surprise, and the person is wow. The person listens. The person listens. So as a leader, as we round up, you must learn to prioritize listening. Work on yourself in that regard. It's going to help you a lot. Subsequently, in this episode, we're going to be learning how to break the barriers in listening and how to effectively become a listener. And I'm sure you'll be tremendously blessed. I hope this helped, and I trust to see you in the next episode with more exciting information. Till then, remain blessed and keep growing in your leadership influence. Thank you very much. God bless you.